do not have tactics, no, but I do have listen, so I know I can hear it for sure.
Oh, you can hear it. Yes. Let me see if your
I turned
companion.
to yeah, I was about to ask the young boar, whose name I'm probably sure I'm well accustomed with. What's going on? Do you know that?
Joseph. His name is Joseph.
Yosef,
Uh,
what is going on?
and it says, they're betting the artillery.
Is that
And
a bet? Yeah.
he explains when you set up artillery like this for sieges, you have to test it, and you test for range, right? Like the appropriate. Also, literally betting is where they're putting. So when you fire, it's secure and doesn't roll over or explode or flip or anything like that. So that's called betting, right? So that's it's a process that starts at the beginning of a siege, right? That's what he's basically telling you. That they're betting. They have brought heavy artillery, cannon. You can hear it from a distance, and that they're preparing. It could take a couple of days for them to have all the artillery in place and prepared. And this time they're trying to negotiate with the castle and try to do all those things. But you're sure that
basically,
by the time the other party members approach, they're also closing in the circle of the siege because they have to make it airtight. Sorry about that. They're in that process.
Okay. Is there a based off of the maps and everything we saw previously, as well as the trail stuff? Because I assume we have like maybe copies or version of that was given to us.
Yeah.
Is there a weak point near the backside of the castle where the bulk of the siege would not be visible or not be paying attention to yet?
The way I would describe it is that the castle is atop a cliff, and sort of this coming down the cliff, there's forest. Right, this is sort of a small forest, which would be the hunting preserve. An army would have to cut their way through to close the siege. Right there, they would have patrols and the like in that area, but having a continuous line, they would have to really fell trees and the like. And as you are moving closer, you can also hear like the hacking of axes. So that's exactly what they're doing, which for them is a good idea because you use the wood as part of the fortifications, right? And also you hear also a lot of axes, a lot of shovels. The sieges include creating parallel trenches to the castle itself. So they're in the process of setting and establishing the siege and the patrols and the like. The longer it takes, the more they'll be able to cut their way through the forest and surround the castle, and then start deciding which tactics they're going to use. So you have an opening through the forest to get close to the castle. Doesn't get you inside the castle, get close to the castle, and but within no more than 2 weeks, they'll be ready. They'll probably caught a path, and while still that'll be the weakest point of the line, as long as they can make the line contiguous, right, and reinforcing, essentially they closed in the castle.
Yeah.
So
this might be the opportunity to either see. The problem is I don't have any ability to really sabotage much of anything, or else I would start working on that. But this might be the opportunity that I need to get inside. So I think I'm gonna. I could probably do this alone at this point. I go to Yusuf and I say, see if you can meet up with Sir Gregory on the roads back through the trails there. Let him know what you heard and saw. Let him know that my current plan is to try and sneak into the castle on my own.
Well,
and we'll see if we're successful.
Good luck, sir. And you know that he takes a knee and he takes a piece of paper and he starts making notes while he's seeing from his position. So apparently he knows how to read and write, right? So they didn't send some,
May I ask you one more thing, Sir Yusuf? If I don't make it, can you tell Sir Gregory to send a letter to where would I put her name? A letter to a woman by the name of Alana.
We'll do so.
Thank you.
Good luck. Good luck. And you also see that this is a large army, right? This I described before. Here you have at least regiments worth of troops, right? And you have different banners as well, right? Because this is still a sort of medieval to Renaissance army. So these are the banners, the banner lords of the invading army. And again,
All
as you're
the young
as he's leaving, the camera sort of went back, and he can hear the cannonade. Like they're firing yet another shot in the process of setting up the artillery. Gregory, what do you do that night and the next morning to prepare? What are you going to do?
Well, I have my armor, I have my staff. I sort of came prepared, so I'm mostly just making sure I have good rest, get some breakfast, and probably talk to Harmon a little bit about, sticking close together, and, I let's make sure you don't run out there and die trying to fight a whole army yourself. I know you want to, and you'll probably halfway succeed.
What do you mean halfway?
I mean, even you have limits somewhere. Maybe we don't confront them straight head on. Our goal will be to try to get in there and try to reconvene with Duncan, or at least get him out.
Why are you saying this like this is something I've done before?
Because I have the sense deep within my soul that somehow you wish this.
I've never engaged in a fight that was not in your defense.
Well, it may have to be. But if such a fight does occur, I'd prefer us to perform a retreat.
So how is the grand melee in Gregory's defense?
It was in defense of his honor.
Touche.
Indeed.
He put his honor on the line, and I defended it. Also, Robert has dropped from the call.
Yeah. But I'm not sure what other special preparations could really take. Maybe I'll thank the young lady for her assistance and her studiousness and such like that. And I guess otherwise, just sort of knob around with nobles for a bit and try to keep their spirits up.
I mean, they're preparing. Another group joins in, but again, these are the sort of the house guards and personal forces of these lords, right? And they don't seem to be very impressive. Apparently, they were, the one group that was not prepared for war. It was them.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, right? And perhaps they thought that the war would miss them, would pass them by, but nope, that's not what happened. They have become now at the center of it all. Perhaps because they weren't prepared. And so we go back to Brother Vesper. Brother Vesper, you are trying to get a ship.
Well, we need to get back to the care to go ahead and tell them of the plight of these people. Either that or steal all the food from the invading army, which is not going to happen.
Well, you have a ship available.
Oh, I do.
But that's under the command of Gregory.
No, he left. We have to go get another one.
Yes.
Unless Gregory's going home to tell people of their plight.
No, he's
and Gregory is currently preoccupied because he has to go get the prince.
So you go to the village. You see that there's a guard there. There's several.
What flag are they flying here?
You don't recognize the flag.
All right. Well, first we have to figure out if this is a loyalist or a rebellious village. We don't see we don't see an occupying force, do we?
Oh, it is. It looks like an occupying force. In fact, they seem to be fortifying the land part of the village. Right. As I goes to the land, they're actually putting a barricade to secure this.
They're in the process of fortifying it.
Yes, they're in the process of fortifying, and you see several ships which are armed with cannon.
I need to turn to the two men that I'm with, and I need to size them up. How are you men girded up?
It depends what it's for, sir.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't understand.
What do they wear? Are they wearing leather armor and carrying swords?
They are they're actually wearing mail and carrying swords, and they don't have any firearms, but they do have bow and arrow.
Okay, but you look like soldiers.
They are soldiers, yes.
Well, that would explain why you look like one. It's one of our
I see.
favorite jokes. Like, that man looks like the vicar. All right then. I'm guessing neither of you have any form of letters at all. All right. I'm going to go ahead and take off. This is not going to be easy. I'm going to go ahead and take off my frock, and I'm going to put it on the larger of the two.
He looks. He's like, "Don't you need this, sir?"
Yeah, if we're going to pass ourselves off as religious pilgrims, we're going to have to look the part.
Right. My grandma went to
Don't worry, I wear body armor underneath my frock. I have been in armor this entire time.
So I don't see you naked, and sorry. That's
in Ironclaw, you can put on 2 sets of armor. I've been wearing 2 sets this entire time.
Yeah, and he says like, "I'll never repeat that ever again. I apologize, sir."
So let's go ahead and try to gain entry into the town. Let me do the talking.
Right, sir. And he looks at the other man and is like, "What do I do, sir?"
What I want you guys to do is I want you to wrap up your swords and let's unstring your bows and stow those away. We need to, if we're going to pretend to be peaceable pilgrims, we need to pretend to be peaceable pilgrims. You might as well keep wearing your chainmail. One armored guy will look less suspicious than 3.
Very well, sir. And they find a place where get bush or something to stash the weapon so that they know.
No, we'll keep them. We're gonna unstring them and wrap them up and put them away in the packs.
Okay.
If they search us, they'll find them. But there's a difference between walking up with your weapons in hand and walking up with large bundles. Hopefully, they'll spend a lot of time looking at me because I look like a priest, because I am one.
Very well. We'll follow your lead, brother.
I mean, I'm just doing this because your disguise looks a little more credible if we disguise ourselves. And let's go up. Let's just brazenly walk up to the fortifications and ask for entry to the city.
It's the barbarian fire drill. I love it. So let's go. So you walk in. You walk in, and
no one stopped us?
Well, you're walking up to, so I say, the construction barricade, and you see that the people that are working on the barricade are usually the local villagers, right? They're being forced to work. And you see men armed mostly with crossbows, up and down. And
so there's a press gang that's building the wall.
Yes, and several of the men turn over and it's like, "Who goes there? Take your business."
Hail and well met, sir. It is I, Carabas the Pilgrim, and my 2 other acolytes. We come bringing a message of peace.
And they squint and they look at each other and like, "There be no church or temple here, sir. You should turn around."
But there is want and need everywhere. We have come to spread our message of peace and love.
And someone's like, "I don't think this bloke knows that we're at war." Shh. "Everything is already peaceful here, sir. Thank you for the message. Well received."
Yeah, I have to look him up and down as he's sitting there, clearly armed with a giant crossbow, and say, "Then we are." We are merely. Then let us merely pass through, seeing that we are peaceful men of goodwill.
Right. Sure. You gotta try. Now, this is what you're trying to convince people. You have to use your. Are you trying to convince or impose your?
You said you were peaceful. You should just let us in, then, right?
Yeah, you have to roll for that. Yeah.
All right.
He's like, it does.
I'm guessing this
is fine on journey. Like,
I'm guessing this is a negotiation because I want to come in.
And you want to use your religion because, well, you're a religious authority.
Well, do they recognize my religious authority? Because we're dressed as Salmair, not druids.
Yeah, they'll. In fact, of the three kings, the one that is more heavily Sumer is the younger king.
Well, I don't know who
But
these, but these guys. I keep asking if they have any colors or anything I can recognize. I have no idea who this authority is that's building the walls. Like, are they loyalist or rebellious? If they don't have any markings or any flags or signs, I have no idea what their loyalties are.
But remember that this is a town that you avoided, and Gregory said that to be avoided because he recognized the banners.
Oh, okay. So they
Yeah,
should be
so
loyalists.
no, they should be enemy.
They should be rebellious. But
Yes.
the rebels will still recognize the authority of the foreign church of Salmer.
Yes.
All right. Maybe they're all trying to win stuff. Well, my negotiation fails, but if they recognize us as a religious authority, I have one success.
Right. Well then. Exactly what are you going to do inside?
We are on our mission to visit all of the villages of the Isle. It is part of our great purpose. Only by walking to places and suffering and having hardship and endurance can we truly appreciate this life in this world. Allow me to explain our entire religious doctrine to you.
And when you said so, it's like, right. Just make sure that the sun doesn't come down on you. All right? I don't want you here at sunset. Everybody who's not from the village has to vacate at sunset. You understand that?
Your words are heeded.
Very well. And keep yourselves, well, going on.
And peace be with you. And
Same.
we'll go inside, saying, "Well, that wraps that up, doesn't it?"
And you can see that actually they're bringing some material from the ships, right, and setting up stores and the like, right. So they're using this as a base of operations. Maybe not the only one, but they're setting and they even taking the older shacks and stuff and tearing them apart. Some of them are using for storage, other them are tearing apart as building material. They're fortifying this place. They mean to stay.
Well, I can turn to the two men that I'm with, thinking if we actually stole a boat, I can see that they have resources aboard them, and some of those might actually be the food that the people actually need. Are any of these boats small enough that the two of you could possibly pilot it? As I am not a
Well, you have
sailor.
You do have sailing.
Yeah, I do have sailing.
You have a mix of like the actual fishing boats, right? The village they haven't taken those out; they're just there.
Yeah, but we're looking for one that's already loaded because.
Oh yeah, there's at least one warship, and there's at least 2 or 3 transports which are smaller. Like there's caravels, like your ship. There's to be 2 of them, and then there's a warship with cannon.
Is there anything? Well, I'm going to stay away from the warships. Is there anything that possibly the 3 of us could navigate?
The caravels.
Yep.
It's the thing about it is, well, I guess you have to hit the right timing with the wind, because otherwise you'll have to use the oars, and using the oars will require a larger crew. But if you can get the right, you manage to get the right time to the wind.
And I can't. Unfortunately, I am not an elementalist. I can't make wind.
But sailing, you could probably figure it out with the rise and fall of the tide.
Well, how's the weather? This is when we use the best skill in the game, weather sense.
And also, I mean, this is a fishing village.
Yeah. Well, we have to find a candidate of a boat to steal. So, Unfortunately, the problem is they said we had to be out of here by sundown, which means we'll have to conceal ourselves inside. We're going to wander around town like the pilgrims we are, like, looking at, like, how big is the occupying force? Are they spread thin, or is there a man on every corner?
Most of the forced people here are actually, aside from the villagers, those who are not all of them, but many of them have been, pressed to do the work, are just, they're sailors. They're just offloading stuff, offloading. They're workers, right? I mean, they are armed, they have swords and the like, but they are not professional soldiers. Only the soldiers in the warship, and most of them are in the warship.
But the place is crawling with soldiers, then, right?
There's, about 10 to 15 of them that you see. right? Not
How many
all.
ships are here?
There are 3 ships, but the bulk of
Three ships,
let me
but
explain.
only about 15
Let me
soldiers.
explain. The bulk of the soldiers, the Marines, as it were, are in the warship. The place is crawling with sailors who are armed, but their primary job is not to fight. The primary job is to sail. I mean, they will fight it.
Okay. Well, I have to be confident to my men that once again, while I want to do the greater good, we also need to be responsible about it. That's a warship right there, and they've kept their garrison aboard it, which means that if we were to steal a ship, and they were to see us do it, which they would, they would be upon us in short order. And the fact that the caravels have token cannons, whereas the warship has an entire broadside, I'm guessing to do such an endeavor would be folly.
During daytime, sir. Yes.
Well, in order to do it at nighttime, we'd have to somehow sequester ourselves in a place that we can't be found at night. But there's only 15 soldiers wandering around, and most of them are monitoring the press gangs. I have to assume that at night they would order. It's also weird. Also, the typical Ironclaw reminder of many places are active 24 hours a day because the day shift goes to bed, the night shift wakes
Yes,
up.
that's true. This night. Yeah.
Which means fleeing at night isn't going to necessarily is better from a stealth perspective, but not perfect. But most of these people are wolves, so that might work, or lions. Actually, lions means it doesn't work because lions can see in the dark. Well, I mean, the question of whether we would get away with it or not, I would think we might be better served stealing a smaller boat that doesn't have any supplies on it, and just going back to the care to tell people of the plight. Uh, unless you guys think we can actually get a boat. I mean, what do you two think? I'm putting your lives at risk.
Well, we're following your directions, brother, but I might be so
Bravery is
bold.
to be commended.
If I may be so bold, sir, we could steal some supplies and put them in a smaller fishing vessel, one we can easily crew, and move them up the coast so we can just feed those people. I
You
don't.
mean like pick up heavy things and then carry them a great distance and put them down somewhere else? It's not a skill I'm very good at.
They look at each other like carrying heavy things is what we do, sir.
Suppose some things are better than nothing. We
I
would
mean,
somehow.
if you mean to just help the people right away, if you wish to travel across the Emerald Sea to bring word of this, I'm. I don't know. Why wouldn't they know? They heard that they already knew, right?
Well, the easiest way to do that would be to keep from raising suspicion would be if we did it in the manner of a press gang, which basically means getting a uniform. What sort of uniform are the occupying troops using?
The sailors are wearing the typical sort of striped shirts that you see sailors wear with the caps and the like. The Most of the soldiers are wearing leather with tabard. So if you can get your hands on one of those tabards, of the line, rampant with the spear, holding the spear, then that you could pass for them.
Right, that would be what we would need for our essential disguise, which means we're going to have to get one of these people all by their lonesome, which is not an impossibility.
Do an observation for me.
I would be happy to do so. Sadly, we are in the city and not the forest, so that doesn't apply.
Mind observation.
Well, we just got caught.
Well, you didn't roll your mind.
That is my mind. I don't have any observation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't. No. In fact, as you turn around, looking, you see a couple of like a small gang of sailors sort of coming up, bringing some stuff, going straight for you. What are you going to do?
The standard thing that you're supposed to do. You two guys get down on your knees and start praying, and I'll start proselytizing. Be gone, you ever piercing spears of hatred. For those who would crush all solidarity, have a narrow windows of this world.
And the
I am
sailors.
out of thee.
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, you do a religious check because basically you're trying to.
That I can do.
Yes, that you can do.
Presents.
What? Okay, you guys are watching these dice, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing
Yeah,
them
let me-
happen in real time here.
Let
Do you
me
have a
see.
favorite use
Let me
of your
fill my favorite-
presents?
Well, actually, I do. It is sermonizing.
Hey, it's perfect.
There we go.
Much better.
You see that some of these sailors sort of they you're in the middle of the road, the street, sermonizing, and some of them, sort of stop to listen to you.
You repent! The days of violence are at hand. For every drop of blood that you shed for your hand will come back to haunt you threefold.
Like they start looking at each other, kind of scared, and start praying with you. And some rough, actually a woman comes in, and she's wearing tattoos, like tattoo sleeves, basically. Like what's you like? Come on now, move. We have to move stuff. Come on, you get to be in the whorehouse later. Come on, move. And you
Right.
point to your face. You point to your finger.
The most
Shut
carnal
it.
of sins.
Shut it. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for your whatever it is that you're
You'll have
doing.
all the time in the hereafter.
Shut
after you
it.
pass on.
Thank you. And I thank you not to bother my men under my command. You go over there where there's a
It's not
big
bothering, it's saving their very
Did I
soul.
say you could talk? Shut it. I said shut it already.
I will not be silenced.
Oh, don't test me. You might be a man of the cloth, but I'll sure of
I'm a man of
you
peace.
idiot. Move.
Persecution.
Just
I'm waiting,
go over there.
I'm waiting for my favorite lines. And good news, they're men of peace. It means you can hit them, they don't hit back. Oh! They're non-violent, the fools. I guess, yeah, we'll let ourselves be chased off. And it's like, well, yeah, I don't think we're actually, I didn't think we were the kind of people who could do this, and the dice have apparently agreed with me on this. It's a small occupying force, but stealing the caravel at night would involve sneaking aboard, which I am sneaky because I am a raccoon. How sneaky are my men?
I mean, they're wearing mail, and yeah. I mean, they're not encumbered, so that's not a problem.
What species are
they're both rats.
they? Oh,
Rodents.
yeah. Well, oh, wow. Sea rats. The best. This is actually your native environment since we're on the shore.
Mhm.
The problem is, like, I would have, like, if the three of us tried to steal, and how big is the warship?
It's two decks. Only has one gun deck. So it's not that big.
Only one
it's-
gun deck. They can
it's-
only broadside us with 6 of those things.
It's a sloop, basically.
Yeah, but we're still talking like a half dozen guns, and all the soldiers are aboard at any minute. So if we stole a ship, they would come after us. They would stop giving chase since most of their men are aboard after a certain point, but we'd have to go chase. Let us see which way the wind blows. For if the winds are not favorable, this plan is doomed. We're going to go lay low and wait and see how the wind is blowing near evening. Truly, if the land truly sponsors our candidate for king, it would oblige us with favorable wind.
Okay. So what are you rolling?
We're gonna find a place. I'll find a place within sightline that we could like hunker down and remain inobtrusive. Narrow alleyways usually aren't a big deal in fishing villages. We're probably going to have to hang out near the trash pile
Yeah,
or the
there's
Miss
a lot of
Alley.
places, especially there's a lot of places where they're hanging out nets and the like that makes it hard for people to see, especially down by the shore. So there's basically places where they have the boats that they bring to the shore, and there's a lot of nets that have to be dried and stuff like that. A little
Yeah,
bit
no,
of tracks.
but
Yeah,
we have to not get caught here after curfew. So that's why we'll find a place to hide.
yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. That if you in that area, usually most people after dark they just go to their chats or whatever. So that's usually it's abandoned, you know. And it's difficult to see because you have basically sort of these spider webs of multiple nets which are left up to hang to dry, etc. Uh, after they're repaired, or they're there. So yeah, that's a good place to hide. Right? Somebody tries to see you, it's very difficult to determine shape. Um,
Okay,
that part,
that's what we do.
yeah.
So we wait.
As nighttime is hitting, you see that there's a change of shift, right? And many of the people many of the soldiers that were here, instead of going straight to the boat, they actually go to one of the larger shacks, and you start hearing like music and laughter, especially the laughter of females. And you can even smell cheap booze from over here. Uh, you have seen these dens of iniquity before. This seems to be some kind of, shall we say, house of ill repute that has been put together rather quickly to serve these.
Well, camps attract camp followers.
That's true.
But yeah, that's why they chase us away. But like I said, we're going to wait until nightfall and then measure the wind.
Well, that's what's happening as night falls, right?
Okay.
There's a shift, and not all the daytime soldiers and guards go to the boat directly. What they do, many of them head right for the whorehouse.
Right,
so,
but once again, this plan is doomed to fail if we don't have a good outgoing wind. So how is the wind?
let's see how the wind is. Yeah, you think that about close to midnight, the wind is picking up. So close to midnight, it should be favorable enough for being able to get out.
Okay. Well, the wind is with us, gentlemen. Let us have a short prayer that heaven grant us the courage that we need to do our task and the serenity if we cannot.
Amen. Amen. Yes, amen.
All right, let's go steal a boat. I think the best way to steal a boat is we're going to steal one of the fishing boats. I'm going to go ahead and be a distraction while the two of you, you guys are in the mail. Okay, let's get rid of the mail so you can swim. Why don't the two of you come up under the water line and I'll be a distraction.
Right. All right. Sure.
Okay.
And they take the mail and they put it in a bundle in a pack and put it.
We'll put it in this barrel, which I will roll up and then stand on so I can sermonize.
And they go.
Unless we can find a fishing boat that has nobody supervising it.
I mean, the fishing boats are left at night. Like they are up and the ones that are up and keel up to the shore.
Wow, you guys are the worst occupying force whatsoever.
Yeah.
Let's if we can find a boat that doesn't have anyone on it, we'll just go ahead and steal it.
You mean one of the transports, or one of the fishing?
Like a dinghy.
Yeah, you're looking for fishing boats. The fishermen, once they're done during the day or at night, they just go to their home. They leave their fishing boats.
Well, the caravels are guarded, right?
But the caravels are guarded. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the sort of crew complement guarding the caravels?
I would say about just a guard between 4 to 5 sailors each.
I thought the occupying force was only about 15 sailors.
And those are soldiers and marines. I said there is much larger sailor force.
Yeah.
And the actual ground forces are different.
I don't think there's only 3 of us and there's 4 of them. And I don't think even on a good day I could take that many. Let's steal a fishing boat and just go back to Care. That's going to be a lot easier to navigate. I feel bad for the villager who's that will be depriving, but it is wartime and needs must. So let's do it.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and steal a fishing boat.
Okay. Roll your stealth rolls. They have advantage.
Yeah, you guys actually, it's the shoreline, so you guys are actually sneakier than I am. And let's see. Oh yeah, speed is not my dump stat. Raccoon is my dump stat. Hey, what do you know? I'm having a good raccoon day.
They, on the other hand, are not having a good red day.
I will sacrifice one of my successes to give one of you guys a bonus D8.
Okay. So the one that fails
I
going to
can see you. It's when I regret not being a team player.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you managed to get one of the boats out. You see some of like a group of sailors staggered out of the whorehouse, right? And they're drinking. They have bottles in their hands, and they kind of look in your general directions, like, "What's going on over there?" Ah, it's nothing. Just come
Well, we
on.
tried to steal one of the fishing boats that's far away from the whorehouse.
Yeah, but someone was coming out, and they sort of wander in your direction. That's what because he failed all his rolls without the D8. But with D8, they made it a 7. So yeah, you're doing good. But they came close to being discovered. It's like ooh. And you quietly roll the boat, and when it hits the shore, it's like.
And it's not that surprising. They probably just put a ban on night fishing to piss off the nocturnals. But all right, let's try and get as fast as we can back to Care and tell them that this island has fallen and needs relief.
Okay. Yeah, you come up, and it's gonna take you a couple of days to cross back to the Emerald Isles, but sure.
We are good sailing people, and it's for the good.
It's for the
and we will go ahead and make our petition.
well. You go there. So let's go back over here. Robert.
Yes, sir.
This is all happening during the same week, by the way. So these things are happening simultaneously.
Yes.
And make sure that people they were there and over here. What again? You have they're building their trenches. They have their cannons set up. They're trying to cut through the forest. What's your attack plan here?
My attack plan is to essentially sneak behind the lines and get as close to the, I guess, where the cliff base where this state is,
Mhm.
and if need be, climb up the cliff face without being seen, just to get right onto the doors of the castle.
Okay.
We're going thief style here, I guess, in this one.
Yeah. This is gonna be tough. You're gonna need 3 rolls. You need 3 successes, so we're gonna have you make you 3 rolls. First, to get from the outer line of the defenses through the main defenses, and then finally you get to the cliff case. Now, if you get 3 successes on once, I will say that you made a beeline. You found an opening, and went in there. But if you didn't, then you have to bank your successes. You need to do 3 successes. If you fail all your 3 rolls, then you were either discovered or chased away, or didn't find a way to get through. You thought that it was a place you had to wait, etc. And it's also going to be very slow going, right? So let's roll for that, and that's going to be a speed, stealth, and what else? What else do you have that you can rope in there?
Okay. I do have. Let's see, speed and stealth. Well, the other gifts that go with that, shadowing and streetwise, I don't believe will be useful here because I'm not trying to shadow people
No.
specifically.
No.
Or it's not the streets either. Perhaps maybe observation, to carve out or observe guard patterns and things like that to avoid their detection.
Yes, that would work.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of something else. I do have night vision, if that matters any for a circumstance.
If you're using night as a
Yes.
yeah, I mean, our brother Vesper reminded us, there's a turnover because we have both the diurnal and nocturnal creatures. So most of the soldiers and the like that are active at night. There's a little less of them because, especially the lines who are in charge, they have to rest, and if they're awake during the day, they have to go and rest during the night. So that gives you an opening, but not as much an advantage as in other situations.
Very
But if
well.
you have night vision, that means it's much easier for you to cross the terrain,
Yes.
and the like. So yeah, I would say we'll give you a D6.
Since this is a forest and the forest is my habitat terrain, I don't know if that matters at all either.
Oh well, then let's bump that to a D8 then.
Very well. And just out of curiosity, just the majority of the creatures that are out at night, if they're not the lions, what species are they?
Mostly rodents.
Rodents. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
During the daytime, we have wolves and other similar daytime creatures. Foxes actually are nocturnal, I think. So yeah, and you also have a lot of horses in the forces. That didn't
During the day.
during the day, yeah. That didn't mean to rhyme, but that's how it came out. Yeah.
That's okay. And I guess for like scaling the cliff face, if you want me to include that or not, I do have climbing dice for species and career, as well as fast climber, which
But
make
let's
me
let's make
easier.
now. Let's make your rolls to get to the cliff face.
Okay, just checking.
Because you have to pass through the camps, right? And they're also as well. I'll tell you as you go along. So yeah,
All right, so just to recap: speed, stealth, observation, and an extra D8 because of the forest habitat and night vision. And I am going to roll it then.
yep. You need at least 3
I have
successes.
three successes.
Yeah, it takes you most of the night, but you go and we did the typical sort of stealth game situation where somebody passes close to you and you're like behind a tree and they don't see you, and you know, yeah. If this were a video game, you would see like the vision cones, right, sweeping back and forth. And somebody, maybe you step on a twig and they hear something and they stop. It's like, who goes there? And you keep quiet, right? But eventually you make it all the way to the cliff face. Now you have to make your climbing roll,
Oh, that's
which you have to add stealth, because if you're discovered, you're going to be up the cliff without a paddle.
So the climbing roll would be, I guess, what then?
Body.
Body. All right, with the climbing, and add stealth to that as well.
Yes, because you're trying to avoid trying not to be spotted once you're climbing up the cliff face. And,
I am going to do my best to avoid not being spotted. I have 4 successes.
You almost feel like a pair of eyes sort of sweep past you. The way it happens in movies when they have a spotlight and everybody freezes. Somehow they don't get spotted when the spotlight. Anyway, but it passes. Maybe it's a shadow. Maybe you thought that maybe a bat, a soldier was sort of a bat flying above, maybe looking for interlopers. Whichever it was, you finally climb, and now you're on the walls of the castle. The doors are closed. The doors are closed, and there's guards everywhere, trying to find a place to come in.
I assume the guards that are at the in the castle are not the same guards as the ones
No.
down on the
They're in the
ground.
they're in the parapets, but you can see movement. Again, the night shift, as it were. They're doing their own guards, and they're moving back and forth.
This is one of those weird situations where I have no reason not to fear, like just going up to them and saying, "Hey, we need to get out of here."
Well, they're under siege, so somebody showing up and saying, "Hey, open the doors. I'm just here to help you." Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm thinking. Like, how am I going to approach this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have keen smell?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Do you have keen smell?
I do not. I only have listen.
Okay, no.
You're a panther. I think your environment is plains as well, like lion, right?
No, just forest. I double checked that.
Oh, well, you're in heavy forest.
Is it still forest even on top of the cliff here? Or with it?
No, there's an area where they have cleared it right up to the walls to avoid people literally walking from the wood and climbing up.
I was gonna say that doesn't make sense that there'd be a forest there.
Yeah, they
Well,
good.
how
I would
about
say.
this?
Well, yeah, go ahead.
How about this? Is it possible to do a let's see? Is it possible to do an observation or searching check to see if I notice openings or anything like that where I might be able to, I guess, get through the doors or something? I don't know.
You can make an observation. Yeah.
Okay. I assume that would be mind and observation.
Yes.
Oh, I don't see shit. Anyway,
Mhm.
that's a botch.
Wow. Okay. Let me see if somebody sees
Oh,
you.
they're going to see me now.
Yeah.
And I was doing so well.
Yeah, they came close. You see a pair of people, figures come out of the edge of the forest. But as they're approaching your position, an arrow flies from the battlements and hits nearby. It's like, ah! And they get back and they hop back, right? So apparently, the people who would have spotted you were spotted by somebody in the battlements, and they fired an arrow in their general direction, and that scared them away.
So they got guys that are up here already. Oh dear. All right. So okay. So that changes things. All right. So I'm assuming it's still like I'm guessing it's like really close to early morning at this point.
Yes. And it's summer, so the nights are shorter too.
Yeah. I'm gonna say and I guess rest a little bit in the forest for now before we actually go into the clearing near the castle walls there, that you described before.
Mhm.
That little area. And I'm going to with my limited knowledge of magic, based upon seeing what both Gregory and Spencer have done previously, is there any way that I would know how to contact Spencer?
I believe that Spencer can contact you, but you can't contact Spencer. I believe that's how it works.
Yeah,
Okay.
Spencer would need to figure out when to read the mind and possibly use the neck the key to do so.
You could always become his apprentice and become a cognoscenti as well.
I'm not that smart, unfortunately, but that's an option. Perhaps. All right then. So I'm going to wait until like we get like closer to like, I guess like late morning, early afternoon.
Mhm.
I also would like to note that I want to set up a sort of defensive style position.
Okay.
Just in case if somebody tries to find me, like maybe like, and since I am a decent climber, maybe we can climb up to like a medium-sized tree that's not like crazy above the tree lines, and I can hide
Yeah.
up in the bushes up
Yeah,
there
you
or
can do
something.
that. Yeah.
Right.
From there, you can see you have a vantage point, and you can hear and see the people clearing a line right through the so behind you, so to speak, is the people clearing the forest to create the continuous line. Eventually, they'll keep on clearing up northward so that they can have a clear shot at the castle. So they're moving sideways across the forest, but eventually they'll start also clearing closer to the wall because we say, well, they can use the forest for cover up to a point, but they also have to set up like weapons and the like, and large troop group movements. It's hard to them. The force themselves were forced to break up. So and again, it's an obvious place to
Yeah.
maneuver. So they decided
Do
to.
I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I apologize to interrupt, but do I see the two gentlemen that almost spotted me but got shot with the arrow as I'm climbing up to the tree? I guess. Do I notice their movements or patterns at all? Like, is there like a small camp up here or something of these of their own of the enemy
You see
scouts?
that there's several small camps. It's a large wood. It's a large area. So you see them every so intervals, and you see basically about four of them. Again, Two of them seem to be awake during the daytime, patrolling, to make sure, of course, that also that the people in the castle don't try to use the forest to escape. That's also why they're there. And two others might be resting in basically like a pop tent, right? Or just sleeping against a tree or something like that. So you have a good vantage point. And of course, you see again in the parapets, in the up the wall, up in the walls, the patrols, right, of the men who are guarding, and they are mostly with either crossbow or bow and arrow.
I will take out like a dagger that I have, and I get a piece of wood or bark off of the tree, and I'm just want to make a couple of marks.
Okay.
And like locations of where those camps would be located in this forest here, and I feel like that might be useful for safekeeping later.
Okay. So we're gonna stop with you right now and go back to Griffin and the rest of the party. After they rest, you're going to. Again, the question is: are you going to go with a company of men, or you're going to go with just some scouts that will?
We're going with the company.
Okay, you're going with a company. So they assemble a company. Most of them are horse, company of horse, and it's about, well, company in this case, yeah, but between about 30 to 40 men, and they march up. Along the way, you meet Yusuf, who's coming back, and he has annotations and goes straight for the captain of the company, and they have a talk and says, "This is what I observed," and all that. You can join in. You're a noble.
Oh, of course, yeah, I'm interested, and we're working together on this.
Essentially, it's a rough but useful sketches of some of the gun positions and the places and all that, and basically describes what they saw in the forest and the like in that area. Useful. I mean, it's not we're not talking about modern graphic artists who recreated the entire castle, right? But you see X's and other positions, and this person, you said, although young, seems to be able to know how to read and write, so he basically puts a C for cannon and stuff like that, and some minor notes.
Yeah.
Right? And they, if you have any questions for Yusuf, then this will be the time.
Well, this seems all fair and clear. And what happened to Duncan?
Yeah, so he decided to stay behind. He said he was going to investigate further.
Good. Then he should be inside the castle by now, or such is my assumption. And to look at the captain again, what is the captain's plan of action?
Depends on this information. I have to corroborate it, but if you need to get into it, we might be able to launch a raid outside of the castle itself. If we can find their trains, especially their powder magazine, play a little bit of trickery on them. And he smiles, a very toothy smile. And perhaps that could give you enough of a bang for distraction.
A wonderful plan.
However, that would only work once.
Of course.
After that, well, exactly how you get into the castle, that will probably get you close to the castle. But
right.
Get you in the castle.
And I guess it would be fair to say, as part of preparations, we probably have at least some minor climbing equipment and maybe a ladder.
Well, sir, the problem is with that is I would not suggest you trying to climb the walls, because if there's anyone in the garrison, they will not take lightly for you to essentially assault the castle, even if you mean well.
True.
However, and
your thoughts then?
I hesitate to use this, but it might be the best way to get in, short of mining, or filing. There might be a sally port of some sort, but those are operated from within the castle.
Right, so we'll have to go up on the side then, hope that they let us in.
Or maybe try the oubliette, sir?
The oubliette. I'm trying to remember what that was in my own head.
It's toilet.
Oh, yeah. I do still have dignity, and I do very much like how clean my armor is. The sally port it is. A grand suggestion.
But you'll have to find some way to contact people inside to let you in. That might be a...
That is true. Well, we do have an arrow here, and someone could fire it. I think the soldiers come equipped with bows at some point, don't they?
Yeah.
So they can fire off a signal arrow. That'll work. And assuming Duncan is inside, then that ought to maybe get us in.
Okay. How do you
So-
know if Duncan is inside? You're assuming that he's inside, or
If I see a fire arrow back, I will know he has seen the signal and action will occur.
Rafferty, Vesper, you're on the sailing across the Emerald Sea. You do have some supplies because you managed to get maybe a bag or two or something that you had. Did you tell
We're in an
anybody?
archipelago, so I would imagine we're not that far from Care.
True. Well, it's a couple of days across because, again, the way it is, it's the Emerald Sea is really in the middle of it. The way you might want to imagine is if somebody took like the central England and just put water in like a giant lake that would
It's a
separate
donut.
Wales.
Right.
Scotland.
Well, see, but none of us have navigation. None of us could do open sea navigation. We have to do dead reckoning.
Yes. Basically, you do know that as long as you go dead north, you'll be fine. So you'll hit land somewhere. So you're doing that, and you're finding your way north. Eventually, you do see the coast, but because you don't have navigation, you just find a beach somewhere that you can land. But
Well, we have a fishing boat. This shouldn't be too hard. I mean, we can beach it if we have to.
That's not a problem. Yeah.
Oh, but of course, lean days at sea. Oh, I need to write about this in my journal so that when other people read the biography of Saint Vesper later on, they can understand the trails I went through.